Right, we'll kick off with the film Scream. Scream! And now, you might recognize that title because that was a 1990, I want to say 1996. 1996 film that
Yeah.
was released called Scream. And now we have another film called Scream. The big thing about Scream was that it was a self referential horror. So it was a slasher movie in which the characters in the film were very, very aware of the tropes and the rules of
The
slasher
rules of,
movies.
yeah,
Yeah.
particularly the
The
rules. There's one character who's to tell you all about the rules and,
yeah,
if it's a
Randy.
standalone, if it's a trilogy, if it's,
Yeah.
all these things.
Randy, played by Jamie Kennedy, he was brilliant. He was essentially sort of commenting. He was like, "Oh yeah, this is a slasher movie. We're in a slasher movie and all that." And I remember when Scream came out, I never really understood when people said it was a spoof, it was a satire, because I'm kind of like the kind of person, I like my spoofs a bit more obvious, like Naked Gun. I was like, now that's a spoof. Now that's and then when Scream came out, they were like, it's a spoof of slasher movies while being a slasher movie itself, and I was like, well, really? And I think it took me later on in life to actually go, oh, okay, cool. I see why I get it. It's a more subtle satire than, let's say, or it's a more subtle spoof than, let's say, a Naked Gun or something like that. So so you have it's a slasher film that comments on slasher films, and now you have, and I think especially Scream 2 was quite good because Scream 2 was commenting about sequels the whole way through. Was talking about, oh, this is what happens in sequels. Oh, it gets bigger, and especially that one, Scream 3, Scream 4, didn't really pay attention. Now we have another film that's been released called Scream. The fact that you have one of the greatest slasher franchises in the world, Halloween, you now have a couple of years ago we had another film released called Halloween. It tells you kind of what they're doing with this Scream because it's technically Scream 5, but they just called it Scream. And this whole thing is commenting on what people call a legacy sequel. A legacy sequel, or as they call them in the film, requels, where it's not a reboot, it's kind of a sequel. You kind of have returning characters coming back from the first film. You have and it's all that, and it goes quite meta. It comments on the whole thing about the fans demanding something and the studios trying to make a buck, a little bit like they did in the Matrix Resurrections, but this is not as head trippy as that because it's Scream and you know what to expect. And it does it quite well. For that bit, it does it quite well. However, when I said I had to watch Scream because there was nothing else in the film in the cinemas, I have gotten to the point where I just don't understand the appeal of slasher movies. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know what is the appeal in watching people get killed because you know that you're going to be introduced to a bunch of characters, and with Scream they make a point of it that, okay, the main character is always going to have a friend group, and the killer's going to be among the friend group, and the friend group are going to get picked off one by one, so you know that these people you're seeing are going to get killed, and they're going to get killed in grisly detail because that's part of the slasher thing. There's going to be blood everywhere, you're going to see knives going into necks, and I'm just watching this going,
Yeah.
why is this entertainment? and and I don't think I've ever really liked slasher movies. I've got to be honest with you. I do not think that they're made for me. So I just don't understand why it's entertainment. I don't understand why there's lists on the internet of, the greatest kills. Why is that a good thing? Why why is an inventive kill a good thing? Like there's one in a film called Fear Street. I think Fear Street 1994, which was a trilogy of films, horror films made on Netflix last year.
With you. Yes, I know the ones you mean.
Yeah, and there's one big thing that everybody talks about, and is death by bread slicer, by putting somebody's head through a bread slicer, and everybody's like, oh, gnarly, and I'm like, why is that entertainment? I don't get why that is entertainment. So slasher films on myself, if I can avoid them, I will avoid them. I couldn't avoid this when I went to see it, but I have to say, I think that the commentary is quite good. The commentary is quite good about what you're gonna do and how they're pulling everybody in and all that, and it's almost kind of like done in a way where I would. I personally feel that if they made another Scream film, it would be a betrayal because the way this film talks about it, it kind of sort of says this is what happens. This is what happens in the horror movie. It's stupid. It's everything like that. There's there's even a line within the film where it is comparing the film that you're watching negatively to some other horror films. Like one of the characters has a line where she goes, "I still prefer the Babadook," and the sort of meta way that they go about it, and they're talking about it, and they're essentially telling you, okay, well, this is what's going to happen now. This is what's going to happen now. This is good, and even the reason why this has kicked off again, because Neve Campbell shows up again, Courtney Cox shows up again, David Arquette shows up again. And and even the reason why they bring them back in, I think that they do it well enough. I think this is a film that is extremely respectful of the original film that Wes Craven did. There's actually a very, very subtle tribute to Wes Craven that I did not pick up, even though I'd read a review that told me that this was in there, told me what scene it was in. I still did not pick it up until the end of the film, and at the end of the film, I was like, "Oh, wow,
That's what that was about.
yeah." No, the thing is, it's not subtle. It's not. Well, I think I just said it's subtle. It's in your face, but you could miss it. Let me put it that way. It's in your face, though you could miss it. And and at the end of the film, I was just kind of like, no, that's sweet. That is just classy. That is actually really, really classy. So all in all, Scream. Oh, what would I give Scream 2022? I'm trying to sort of fight against all of my I don't understand why this is entertainment things, because the kills are nasty. There is blood everywhere, and Ghostface. I think Ghostface is probably quite what's the word I'm looking for? It's probably quite successful in what they're trying to do with Ghostface, because I think it is an iconic design. And it is an iconic design, and it does, oh my god, it stays with you. I think it stays with you. Some of the kills do definitely stay with you. And although there's an actress called Mikey Robinson in this film who had me Googling and had me searching to find out if Ezra Miller has a sister, because she so looks like Ezra Miller with long hair. I just kept going, is she? It also took me out from, I was like, hang on, is that Ezra Miller playing a woman? I would have put it past him. I really would have put it past him. But yeah, so I think I will have to give Scream 2022 a 4.
Oh.
I think I'll have to give it a 4, because as I'm thinking about it, the fact that it comments on a whole bunch of things in Hollywood, and it's a Scream film, and it, in the vein of the first Scream film, it continues that, and it says we're just going to look at everything. We're going to make one of these legacy sequels, and we're going to comment on legacy sequels and everything that is stupid and dumb about this type of film while making that type of film. And we're going to have characters in the film who are going to comment on how stupid all this stuff is, like going into a basement on your own when there's a killer on the loose.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me.
Well, they referenced it in the first film, wasn't it? Why are you running up the stairs instead of running out of the door or whatever?
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, and whatever happens, never say "I'll be right back," because you won't. I'll be right back. So it's meta on all levels. I'll give it a 4 out of 5.